This watch has a cool story behind it, no pun intended, that I'm actually not going to talk about at all. But I found a much cooler story that I'd like to tell you about instead. Finally, Peter from Nomadic has sent us another watch for us to review, and that is the Nomadic Turas. Now, unlike the other watch, the previous one, the Marai, that had so many comments and criticisms about it being a homage to a Tudor, this, I guarantee you, is a totally new design, a totally new visual that you've never seen before, and I think this also shows how far Peter from a small micro brand has taken his watch design and how seriously he's taking watchmaking. So find out what makes this Nomadic Turas stick, and quite frankly, what makes it the best from Nomadic so far. From the packaging already, we could see a lot of amazing details. Peter made sure this time around that down to the packaging, the whole adventurous spirit is in full display. I have never seen this rugged pouch before that carries more than just the watch, but it also carries a number of goodies for your piece. Here, the brand includes a screwdriver and this blue canister that apparently has some Loctite in it for your screw pins to ensure that they will stay in place. Both have their own slots in the carrying case, and the case itself is pretty well made with its waterproof material and rubberized zipper enclosure. So, if ever you wanted to go on an extreme venture with your Turas, Nomadic has you covered with this Explorer's bag. One thing that I really love is this very special card that's personalized to your specific watch. It's good to know that Mr. Rowan hand-built this watch on May 1st. So, 50 years from now, if my Turas stopped working, I know who to send Sharky for some good old-fashioned harpooning. I'm pretty impressed already with what Nomadic is bringing to its fans, and we haven't even started with the watch yet. Immediately, I'm blown away with that amazingly textured dial that looks oversized for the proportion of the case. Despite its very obvious curves, the watch actually wears flat. This is because of how the caseback was cut, and that's further assisted by the narrow caseback frame. This Nomadic now sports a display back that shows off at least that decorated rotor. On my wrist, this 39mm watch wears on the larger side of things because of that light dial. And the bezel's thin and narrow profile also contributes to this impression. I don't think it's an Explorer homage at all, but then again, that watch from Rolex created a whole category of watches that will be compared inevitably to it. This may not be any different, even though it is actually quite different. But you see, it's the small touches that makes it a unique offering. Now, how many times have you heard that from me? Well, quite literally hundreds is an understatement, but it nevertheless is true. Peter really made sure that he gives this watch all of the tools and gimmicks that all watch pirates love, such as this quick-release spring bar. It also has that micro-adjust mechanism because, why not? It looks simple, it looks familiar, but it's the execution that feels a notch above. The finishing is a little bit finer and the articulation is a little tighter. And I guess we all know whose handiwork that is. Yes, it's Mr. Rowan's. So, Mr. Rowan, I tip my rum to you. Great job, sir. In our video a few days ago, we gave high praise to brands that regulate their own watches, and here Nomadic is doing the very same thing. If the Turas is not popping out of your screen yet, I can help you with that. A good old quick change of the strap will liven up this piece, a good versatile trade of many wide dial watches. As you toss in this native strap from Artem, the Turas becomes a rugged tool watch ready for any adventure. This reminds me of the Omega Seamaster, and it's definitely working to tug at this pirate's heart. The polished hardware works well with some of Nomadic's chamfers, but it especially matches that flash polished bezel. This configuration also gives a pop of personality to the watch, as the blue tone gives it this casual vibe. If you want some color but hold back a little of that punch, this green Hydroplex strap can give that very nice effect. Not only is it flexible, it also can be dressed up with a good high-quality lip spring deployant. There's a certain high-end feel to this thin deployant, and I'm sure many of you would love that snapback action of this hardware. If you want a cleaner strap to wear, Artem also offers their loopless variant that really enhances the presentation of the Turas. Whenever a strap doesn't have that ring keepers, it immediately gives you a sense of simplicity that stands out against the norm. Well, the norm is that most have ring keepers. On this gray tone, there's a calming demeanor, an efficient projection, an elegant wearability. Okay, I may be embellishing my words there, but you get the point. These straps are made for premium watches, and the Turas is definitely one of them. And lastly, we get to try this out on a watch collection mainstay, the black strap. This sailcloth strap not only provides the no-nonsense sensibilities, it's also got the texture to add to it. Speaking of adding stuff, your comments actually added to this video. Fellow 6035 was the one who told me that that blue plastic container has Loctite in it. Robert Littlehawk is in eager anticipation of the review for small wrists, and Robbery says that the pricing and handling may make sense to someone but not to him. Got something to say? Don't keep it to yourself. Comment down below and subscribe for more watch pirate adventures. It's now time to explore the tiny features of this watch. If you've been a fan of Nomadic's first collection, this one is really a whole new level for the brand. There's a very slight angle to the bezel that makes it feel more flat than inclined. The sides are the expected flat brush affair, and the same goes for the bracelet. I'm actually happy that Nomadic kept this as brushed rather than add a polished center link like most microbrands do. The brand made sure that they focused on execution of the parts. Yes, we've seen these links before, but here it's more even. The clicks are crisper, the buttons don't get stuck. And again, thanks to Mr. Rowan for ensuring this piece is inspected and assembled in the highest of standards. And those standards are pretty high. This piece is regulated to plus minus 6 seconds per day. That's just a tad below chronometer accuracy. Now, the SW200 caliber here is known to be a great alternative to the venerable ETA, but it is as Swiss as could be for this watch. Back to the front, the very well textured dial is the obvious highlight of the piece. It's an unusual mix between the white birch from Grand Seiko and the rocks on my whiskey. The way light plays with this dial is quite interesting. On some angles, it's monotone and chromatic, while on some, the lines deliver these rosy shadows from all of its vertical lines. All this while being sprinkled with the indexes that's loomed on the outlines that gives this very cool reflection over the surface. Very, very nice. It's an understatement to say that texture is the biggest selling point of this watch. Along with Nomadic's signature yellow accents are subtle homages to Ireland and the cool story about a specific Antarctic exploration. It's the usual story about endurance over insurmountable odds, no disrespect to the actual expedition, but the one that I'm more interested in is the ongoing story of Nomadic itself. A story of endurance that started with a dedicated watch fan in Ireland with a very small operation and margin that is now offering in-house regulated watches with its own distinct parts and design at a relatively short period of time. And that is why we're all glad that Nomadic is living up to its mantra, make progress. The Turas from Nomadic. This is a really good watch when it comes to visual aesthetics and watchmaking tolerances. I'm really happy, I'm really proud of Peter here. As a watchmaker, he has shown great strides and advancement when it comes to his finishing, when it comes to the tolerances of his bracelet and that amazing dial. It reminds me of Grand Seiko and the white birch. It's an amazing watch, and I can't believe this young watchmaker, young brand is making this kind of quality watches. Of course, it's not cheap. That's the thing that Nomadic is kind of known for, but you are getting what you paid for here with such a refinement that I could see a little bit of mix of Seiko here, a little bit of mix of Omega, and all Nomadic. So there you go, the Nomadic Turas from Peter. What do you think about this new watch, this new brand? Well, it's not a totally new brand. They've been around for 2 years now, and actually Peter is an inspiration for me. He started with small, really small operation. Now he's expanding his services. He has his own center now with his watchmakers. I really love this brand, the pureness that they have when it comes to their approach to their watches. And I really do support all of our small micro brands out there, and Nomadic is a prime example of how to do it right. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think, and those comments will inevitably go somewhere in that long postponed show that we're supposed to have.